Now, when last did you use an automated teller machine, ATM, in banks? Traditionally, ATM has been a convenience means for cash withdrawal. However, things have taken a different turn. A report by Nigeria Interbank Settlement System reveals that the volume of ATM cash withdrawal in the country has declined consistently over the past 2 years, while the number of transactions processed through agency banking, also known as point of sales machines, POS, has seen a significant rise. Here in Benin, bank customers are finding it difficult to withdraw money from the account using ATMs, and this has necessarily provoked litany of questions. Empty ATMs in Benin is our focus in this week's edition of Midweek Connect. I am Udrakobong Achibong. As usual, my co-presenter Ifoma is here. Ifoma, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Yes, it's another day to discuss issues.
Current issues.
Yes, of course. And one of such is the empty ATMs we are going to be discussing today. But before we go into that discussion, let's bring to you our topics as usual. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is calling on political stakeholders in Edo State to help the commission in mobilizing citizens to vote during the governorship election and also in sensitizing them about the need to conduct themselves peacefully during the electioneering. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Edo State, Anubumu Onoa, met the appeal during a dialogue with CSOs on peaceful participation of the electorate in the Edo State governorship election.
In an atmosphere that is devoid from peace, it is in that regard we are constantly meeting with the stakeholders.
It's always been our message in Noah to eschew violence and embrace peace.
The Edo election, governorship election, is coming at a time when there are very visible challenges overwhelming the society, which can become hindrances to the smooth and peaceful conduct of the election.
We are reminded that the electorate are the cornerstone of our democracy. The choices they make will shape the future of the state.
As the impending Edo State governorship election gathers momentum, candidates are beginning to woo the electorate with greater intensity.
Our markets, we woke up happy. This of who they force people to sell things at a certain price and things like that. So some of them I said, we enter market, we see what they have to do.
Health insurance is there, so we need to expand it. Social insurance as our operator, where every month somebody who may not get anything, government will find something beyond.
Chairman of Ego local government area, Ege Ogbemudia, has reiterated her full determination to deliver Ego local government area to Aswe Igodalu and Usarodiongo Gie as the next governor and deputy governor of Edo State. She described the allegation of budget padding leveled against her as untrue. The chairman was responding to the allegations while her supporters converged on the local government council secretariat to welcome her.
So it is now the duty of the Edo State House of Assembly to find out, investigate, and do the needful.
The blind man can see what she's doing in Lagos. Even the blind man has testified.
Yes, this is Midweek Connect on NTA Benin. We now take a break and we return. We'll go to the discussion. Please stay tuned.
on NTA Benin Network Center, Channel 7 VHF, Star Times on Channel 103. You can log on to our social media handles: YouTube, NTA Benin, Facebook, NTA Benin, Twitter, NTA Benin 1. For breaking news, call our news desk on 091 535 59648. NTA Benin, the award-winning station.
NTA Benin, reaching you from the ancient city of bronze, the cradle of black civilization.
Do you live in Aduawa and environs, or you need a conducive and open field in Aduawa for your wedding receptions, birthday parties, annual ceremonies, family or corporate events in a serene and conducive environment that is close to nature? Then look no further. NTA Benin Aduawa is a place for you. NTA Benin Aduawa has a large field for all your events and ceremonies. Also, at NTA Corporate Headquarters TV Road, we have a state-of-the-art fully air-conditioned ultra-modern hall for all kinds of indoor events with a standby generating set, therefore ensuring uninterrupted power supply. We also have NTA Pavilion for all outdoor events at the same venue. Guess what? Our prices are affordable, locations are easily accessible, venues conducive and highly secured. Our outside broadcast van is available 24 hours and can broadcast your events live. And above all, you can air your events on our award-winning program like Events and Style. And any booking on the field or hall gets a bonus of free news coverage. Wow! What are you waiting for? Grab this opportunity and have your celebration in a grand style. For inquiries and bookings, please call NTA Benin, the award-winning station.
Yes, if you are just joining us, this is Midweek Connect on NTA Benin, and of course is a program we normally bring up for discussion topical issues in the country that bothers you and me. And so today we also have what we'll be talking about: empty ATMs in banks here in Benin City. And we have a guest here in the studio that will be throwing more light on it for us. He is a legal practitioner, Mr. Austin Odigie. So you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Yes, we are talking of empty ATMs in banks here. Of course, let me ask you, when last did you use ATM for financial transaction in bank?
Well,
sorry, sir.
Yes, but before we have that, we have a background. Before you answer that question, let's take a look at it.
Most banks in Benin no longer provide money in their ATMs and have also set a limit on cash withdrawals
which have resulted to people patronizing POS operators. Residents are concerned about not getting money from the ATMs regularly and are left with no other option than paying to get cash from the POS operators. There is a rumor making the rounds that instead of the banks providing money in the ATMs for the people, they are selling this money to POS operators who in turn sell to the customers. This problem will be our focus on this week's edition of Midweek Connect.
Thank you, Mojola, for that. Yes, before we discuss further, I ask a personal question. I said, sir, when last did you use ATM for operation in the bank?
Well, frankly speaking, I actually had the privilege of using one barely a month ago, and I think that was a little bit of a coincidence because I was in the process of opening an estate account for a client. They insisted on opening fresh accounts for me and the other two executors. We didn't object, and immediately after opening the accounts, they issued me an ATM card and said, go to that machine and activate it. I actually was surprised that it worked, but in any case, I also wasn't surprised because we're in the process of activating a system inside the bank, and so it worked for me. But that's not to say every time that I have gone to the ATM, it has always worked. No, it has, most of the time, it has always been empty ATM machines.
Yes, we are looking at that empty machines. So what do you think is responsible for this experience people are having in the state? Because a lot of people say, I go to bank, I'm not given access, an ATM machine is there, you insert your card, nothing comes out, and before the end of the day, you are made to search for other ways.
My experience shows that it's like the idea of ATM, non-functional ATM, was almost born alongside the arrival of the ATM machines from the very beginning, because we are used to going to the system and you are told that there is no network. We are used to going there and you are told the machine itself is not functioning. It's not every time it says no cash. A lot of the times it gives you so many other excuses. But basically, what is annoying is that you go to the ATM machine right in front of a bank, you are unable to access funds, POS sharing boundary with the same bank and with the same ATM card, and you get funds easily. So you are worried, how come I'm not able to get funds from my own account with using the ATM machine of the bank, but I go to the POS funded by principally who operates the same principles as the banks, and I get funded. And then you know that when you pay through the POS, you are almost double paying interest charges.
Okay, sir, this automated teller machine ATM, yes. I think it was established when the federal government wanted to start up a cashless policy, and also to reduce the surge inside the banking halls. You see people wasting their time, staying all day in the bank just to withdraw money. So when ATM came out, everybody embraced it, you know. But now it seems that idea, that aim of establishing it is a mirage. So what do you think that the aim is achieved at the end of the day?
Well, to give it a straightforward answer, no, the aim is not being achieved. But to go back to the genesis, you see, the arrival of the ATM machines, I don't think it was so much a deliberate effort of the government to help the people, but it was like meeting up with the demands of the times. Yes. Because both those in power and those who are not in power, they travel outside the country, and you discover that gone are the days when people queue in the bank. And a lot of hues and cries from Nigerians, we always drawing attention of senators and everybody to how banking is done overseas. That gave a foundation. So government has not always loved the people, but they just needed to meet up.
They do. After all, they have some policies that still have human faces.
Now, so, I'll tell you this: 80% of the initial ATM machines that came to this country, they were all second-handed.
Okay, I wanted to come to that.
Yes, And you have a monitoring body like the central bank. That's why I'm saying government has not really been interested. Those machines would not have landed Nigeria in the first place if government was taking it seriously.
But they were working. They were actually dispensing cash, not until the emergence of POS.
No, the level of performance, if you ask me, was 20%. 90%, the machines were always failing. 90%. And just taking a casual look at the machines, you can always see that they were refurbished. You know, these machines, you can Google them on the net, and they will tell you when each of such machines were produced, just like vehicles. You are using a Toyota Hilux of XY generation. You know when it came into existence. These machines, a lot of them, they've been packaged, they have been rejected in Europe, America, and other continents, but they come here as new. That's what I'm saying. There's a problem with government from the very beginning. If you say the machines were working, I'll disagree with you.
And some people are even saying that the machines are not even in large supply in Nigeria. Like out of how many 200 million people and all that, you're even having about, is it 22,000 or so across the country? They need more than that. Do you think this is equally a factor? Because they say some banks, just few banks have a good number of them at their disposal.
Yes, to a large extent, yes. The demand, yes. But so many things go along with the demands. You see, I want to say some banks, they tried at the beginning to open up some substations where people could walk into at any hour of the day and collect. But security network, the security situation in Nigeria didn't allow it to work. So most of those outlets, they were closed down. And even these ones that they have today, I can assure you that the banks themselves, they are working under very tight security. There's no proper security arrangements for these banks. So the issue of creating additional outlets, if you ask me, that's really not the issue. If the ones they have here, if they were effectively funded and they were doling out cash 24 hours, I'm not sure anybody will be going to the bank to queue.
Okay, so sir, are you trying to say that these bottlenecks, all these factors we just pointed out, is it that they are the reasons why it seems ATM machines are no more in existence? They are there, but
they are not working. They are not dispensing.
Is it that because they are obsolete? Is it because of security? Just
for
like
me,
you said.
For me, they are obsolete. They are not dispensing because of two reasons. If you ask me, one, they are obsolete. Two, they are not being properly funded. The ATM machine is advanced. The beginning of AI.
Yes.
But everything about AI is what you give it. Just like they say in computer, is garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. It's what you give the AI gives out. It's the amount you put in the machine that gives out. See, one machine can run 24 hours if it's a new one. And if one machine is running 24 hours and people are sure that this machine is going to continue to dole out funds, people will patiently wait. But there's nothing as painful as you just try 5 machines in a row, no one is paying. In other situations, you are on the queue, a machine pays for maybe like 1 hour and then it stops paying, and then all your effort, your queuing there, is wasted. And these are issues that the banks should look into.
No, you are talking about looking into. If we should trace this whole scenario, remember in the first quarter of 2023, when central bank came up with policies of new naira note and all that it will flood the market and all that, we know that what follows was that people queued and they have access to money. And since that time till now, it's still an issue of people accessing money in the banks using the ATMs. So you say that these bank policies too have equally contributed to.
Those are issues that one cannot speak in depthly upon on, because the central bank says one thing, but there is no evidence of what they're actually doing. The commercial banks don't mint currency. They don't supply themselves. They depend on what comes from the central bank. Unfortunately, the kind of country we are in, we don't have this general public accountability whereby the public has access to information as to how much goes to a particular bank every day or at a particular time. So the central bank says, oh, we've given them money, But the commercial bank says we don't have money. Yes, we saw during the crisis era, they had to move into arresting some bank operatives. Yes, but all of that is not going on now, so one cannot tell exactly where the problem is coming from. But one thing I know, the federal government wants to a very large extent, mop up liquidity. There's no doubt in that. Okay. Federal government is not really too keen on releasing too much funds. But again, the federal government is aware that there has to be a level of funds released into the the problem now is, how come those funds are only available in points of sale?
Yes, if I should come back to that, even the EFCC,
yes,
I think some months ago accused banks of colluding with POS operators to give them monies and all, so that limit the amount of money people have access to in banks and all that. And do you agree with EFCC?
Well, the EFCC is a legal instrument that is empowered to fight corruption. That allegation, they are the ones that can also establish it. For the ordinary man in the street, yes, they have said so. But the question that we ask is, okay, you have come up with this information. So what steps are you taking to prosecute the offenders? See, the law is like this. First, information has to come from somewhere. It goes to the legal institution that is empowered to use that law to fight corruption, and that's where EFCC comes in. So, how many banks and bank managers have been charged to court in recent times for this allegation? We have not seen any. The public is informed that, oh, these POS people, they are getting their money from the banks. But the issue is this: where is that information coming from? See, the law is a little bit technical. Me and you, we cannot accuse the banks on our own, because we operate the accusatorial system, whereby you accuse a man, you come up with evidence to confront that person. So this issue is in the public domain, but where is the evidence? But again, that is where the system has always failed. Both the EFCC, the Nigerian police, and all other intelligence gathering networks, they are supposed to gather intelligence and come up with intelligence reports. They are the ones that are supposed to arrest erring bank managers. They are the ones that are supposed to arrest erring POS operatives. As individuals, we can come up with this information. Even if you were to see a bank manager giving out money to a POS operator today, you will hardly be able to stand before the law and prove it, because you won't know for what purposes that money was given out.
So where does he belong in law now, as a legal practitioner? As an ordinary person, if I see such a thing, where will I go? Who will I report to?
Yes.
Is it that there's no definition under the law?
This is where the issue of proof comes in. The law says, once you come upon such an information, pass it to those who are empowered to investigate.
That's the security.
That's
police.
Yes.
EFCC.
You go to the police. You put up a petition to the EFCC, to some other authorities. As an individual, you have a right to write to the central bank. There's a section. There's a department of the central bank that can look into issues like this. Now, when such information is received, they deploy their underground operatives to investigate. That's the issue. Ideally, a police officer could be investigating a POS operative for a whole year, and the operative will not know that he or she is being investigated. They gather the information. Now let me give you an example. The law says there's an amount to which there's a limit to the amount a POS operator can give to an individual daily. There's an amount, there's a limit. So as a police officer, if you befriend a POS operative and you go asking far above the amount every day and you keep getting, you begin to gather your information. You get it? You begin to gather your information.
I think we Nigerians were just complaining about the ATM not working, not dispensing cash.
Yes.
Not until this POS now came on board, and it's like a relief. Anytime you want, even if it's 1,000, 50,000 naira, so far you have the money to pay. You know, if it's 50,000 naira, you can pay 1,000 naira. I'm talking about now, not when we are having issues during cashless policy. No, I'm talking about now. So it's like a relief to Nigerians.
It is.
So all these things coming up, don't you think POS has really helped in this money, cash transfer and everything, withdrawals that ATM has refused to do?
Yeah, let me answer it this way. If you tell Nigerians you want to withdraw the POS now, they go into the streets to riot.
But is it supposed to be so? Because before now, bank was really there for the people. You just go to the bank, you get your money. And I think what even necessitated that is that people were like, you go to bank, at the end of the day, they'll tell you limit is for 20,000.
Yes.
And all that. And POS is out there giving you 100,000.
Yes.
Giving you
it's above their limit.
Yes.
By the
and
law.
Is it not illegality?
It's also above their limit.
Is it not illegality at the end of the day?
That limit is to reduce cashless.
At the end of the day, I don't think they are operating within the limits of the law. Trying to give what they're supposed to give.
See, you just got it right. I told you earlier, the intention of government is reduce liquidity ratio. Those POS, they are supposed to be there to transfer, help you do your transfer.
Yes.
Without hindrance. You just walk in there 5 minutes,
cash.
you have transferred your funds. But that's not what they are doing.
They are doing beyond whatever.
You can get a POS operator to give you 1 million naira.
Of course.
At a go.
Will give you.
Yes.
He will.
I know of a POS operator that was attacked by armed robbers last month, and they took over 1 million from him. At a go.
Really? But
yes.
There's one POS operator beside my house there, and most times she tells me she goes to market to buy, get this cash.
Yeah.
Maybe if she wants 100,000 naira, she'll pay like 1,000 or 500 naira from market people. Maybe people selling provision stores and all whatnot. Do you understand? So she doesn't go to the bank
to get her funds.
So if you look at it now, is it not business? She's just doing business on her own.
You see, that's where the issue of investigation comes in. You see what I said? You remember I said earlier that you can see a banker giving money to a POS operator, and you can just assume that it's an illegal transfer, but you just might not know that this is money he brought from home and is related to the POS person, and he's not even going to transfer it. That's where investigation comes in. What you have just said now, there's nothing against the law therein at all. This is normal business transaction, but there's something I want you to know. Yes, she has the right to go source for those funds, but the law does not actually allow you to pay anything extra. Doesn't allow you to pay anything extra for the funds. That's one. The central bank can come after you if they hear that you paid 1 naira on top 1 naira. But however, you see, there are some rules that you operate with a level of human face. If this person has traveled from Benin to Gobazawa to go source for funds, I'm not sure the police is going to be bothered about how much she virtually gets this money. You get what I mean? And if you also ask me, that's not really the area that troubles the government or troubles the populace, because that's transaction between a farmer and a trader in the market. It's different from when the federal government releases money through the bank. You get it? The central bank releases funds to the banks, and these funds are transferred to the POS operatives. That's wrong. But the POS operator who goes to the rural areas to source for funds,
to do business,
it's like that almost comes like an Osusu kind of traditional thrift system.
Yes.
To a very large extent, the laws regulating those things, they are a bit much more liberal.
All right. Before we continue, we want our viewers to know that you can call into this program and make your contribution and ask your questions. The number to call is 0703-695-7086. I repeat, 0703-695-7086. We are expecting your call. Yes, we are about asking.
Sir, I just want to know why the proliferation of this POS. You see them scattered everywhere. This morning I was coming through Third. You see like 10 along that road. You understand? So I keep wondering, is it that the turnout or the gain they make from this POS is much that you see everybody has virtually ventured into this POS, not minding the hazard, the security hazard attached to it?
Yeah, the way I see it, three things are there. First of all, it offers job to the unemployed. And you know, if you throw up any employment, our youths are very eager to rush at it. So to a very large extent, it creates that job opportunity. Then two, we have just said they make a lot of profits. The interest they get for every transaction is much, and beyond those interests, of course, like I said earlier, there are a lot of them who go outside the law to make big transfer. Those that's to raise lump sum for their clients. Usually, my experience from what I have seen, people also reward them for being able to make such huge sums available to them. I'll give you an instance. If there is this family preparing for marriage or burials, they need a lot of liquid cash, which they will hardly get from the banks. They approach the POS. Sister, please, we're going to need 2 million. Help us. See, for a POS operative who is able to give 2 million at a go, you certainly get beyond the normal
POS giving out 2 million, 2 million.
They do. But we're asking you, are there no implications? Because you're supposed to go to bank, and we're talking about security and all that. And we heard so many stories about POS operations and all that. They fraud and insecurity and everything. These implications.
I just told you that.
Are they not?
I just told you that a neighbor of mine was attacked recently. They took over $1 million from him. Yes, the security factor is there, but you see, Nigerian man has learned to provide the security to a very large extent. A lot of these POS positions, they have their friends who are anchoring by, kind of offering them protections. Some cite their stores in areas where they know that they have some kind of security. So to that extent, the business will continue to thrive. But on the issue of why you have so many on
streets everywhere, every corner now,
the law does not actually
POS.
Yeah, the law does not restrict them. What the law says is that they must register. The major operatives must register with the CAC. That's what the law says.
Okay, they have chains of operation.
Oh yes.
Okay, you don't just go and get the POS machine and start up the business.
No, the way it is, the major operators, they register with the CAC.
Okay.
Then they are the ones that are known to the banks. They are in control of several chains. So one man can have POS machines up to 100 between Benin, Ekpoma, Uromi.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, he has registered already, and you can have that because we are having this mobile banking now.
Yes.
You have the fintechs, all these OPay, you have the monies and all that, and they are really coming up. It's like the business is really flourishing for them.
Of course,
because of the ATMs and all that.
Do you
what
think
does it portend for the Nigerian financial window?
Everybody is cashing in on the opportunities. First of all, the economy is not good, so survival is the issue for every young man right now, and the ATM world has left everybody in the cold, pushing everybody to the POS.
Forcefully. You must use it.
That's why I told you that if you were to ban the POS now, the people will come to the streets to riot because they know that the banks have failed them and the POS have come to the rescue.
So does it mean
is it that people don't do withdrawals from banks these days?
20,000 naira.
That's the
highest you can take in a day.
It's to reduce liquidity.
If I have so much to do with money and all that,
you have to do transfer.
Let me tell you, two things are working side by side, or three things: the failure of the banking sector vis-a-vis their response to the public, the arrival of the banking apps,
yes,
and then finally the POS. These three things, they are working together.
Yes.
With the apps now, you really don't need to go to the bank to trouble yourself,
to waste your time, to waste hours.
Once your money is in your account, you can transfer to anywhere you want to transfer, and when you need cash, you just take your POS and walk to 2-3 houses away and you collect your money. So the system, they are all work. You see, the failure of one is like they say the fall of one empire gives rise to another empire. The collapse of a banking system is what has encouraged the POS.
So do you actually call it a collapse of the banking system? Because I know this is to encourage or discourage carrying cash around. You can do with your apps, you can do transfer with your phone apps, you can do transfer in the bank, you use your this thing to do after all, during that cashless when cash crunch in Nigeria, I mean, so many people now started opening accounts. So many market women, they now open their bank accounts. If you buy paper of 50 naira, you can do transfer, and I think it helped in this financial inclusion. It helped so many people now to have bank accounts. Don't you think it's well for Nigerian economy?
Yes. So when I say the collapse here is vis-a-vis the ATM machines. I must praise the banks as far as the apps are concerned.
Yeah.
Years ago, when these banking apps came on board, I got so frustrated with some of them, I just said I will not go back.
But is that good?
Because again and again you try to operate it, network problem, again and again. For me, I had this very terrible operation, a very terrible experience. I was burying my mom and I needed to transfer money to somebody who was bringing a cow from Okene.
Okay.
The money got stuck.
Okay.
It didn't get there.
Yes, that's an issue.
I couldn't get my money. A burial was at hand. It was terrible.
And you take time
I ran to the bank. It took a very long time.
Yes.
But like I said, they have really improved. Right now, almost all the banking apps, they're working very well. They've done very well to that extent. So when it comes to transfer, that's going on very well. But you see, we are in a world where a lot of people still believe in walking to the ATM machine to withdraw their money.
Yes, I'm asking you because it has been said in this country that money is king, cash is king in Nigeria.
Yes.
People will still need that money.
Yes.
So what should bank be doing
it's
more?
It's not supposed to be so.
What should bank be doing more to help the situation? What should bank be
carrying cash around?
In the Nigerian situation we are in,
because every cash
let's categorize our people. Let's categorize our people. I have some friends who say no, they don't keep cash. I say why? I say the moment it's in my hands, it's gone. Then you have this class of elderly who will say no, I don't keep cash. My grandchildren, they will just take it to. You get what I mean? For such persons, it is okay for them to just take a stroll to the bank, take 20,000, and they are able to use that to run their schedule for a while. They know for they know the reasons why they've gone to pick that cash. So it becomes very painful. If such persons cannot.
If everybody is included in financial policy or whatever in system, you don't need to carry cash. If you want to pay for taxi, you do transfer. After all, during that cash crunch, even all these malams selling pepper, all these hawkers, barrow pushers, everybody opened account, and I think it is really well for the economy of the country. It's just that Nigerian culture, we always want to carry cash, we always want to use cash to go and spray at occasions and stuffs like that. If you still go to occasions now, you still see them carrying.
What of transport within the system? Like I'm coming to
we were doing transfer. Then
I wasn't driving down.
You still need the money. No matter how we look at it.
We were doing transfer during that time.
No.
You used to not everybody collects transfer.
If you say
not even in the villages, people started opening. After there was a time.
There are some things that need money.
You pay. You pay through transfer.
You pay through transfer. If I am not driving and I need to come from my place to this place,
of course,
I live in Upper Erunse.
I said people started doing it, sir.
I would need cash to move from my house to Ring Road, and from Ring Road to...
Sir, during that cash crunch, people were doing, drivers were doing transfer. Yes, sir. They were doing transfer.
Drivers will reject it.
Udwa, just please. People were doing transfer.
No, let's not remain on this argument. We are looking at empty ATMs. That we do have in banks today. Are we looking at a situation that ATM may soon be fizzled out in the country and all that?
I don't think so. It can never be, because ATM is government regulation, government provision. You understand? There are certain things that government must provide, like education, for instance. Government must provide it. The fact that the POS operatives are there right now to support the system does not mean that ATM will die. See, ATM is part of the central bank's regulation. You understand? And so it must come. A time will come when newer and newer regulations will come. A time will come when the National Assembly will come into this thing and they will insist. Very soon, you agree with me that EFCC, for instance, was not there many years ago. It came on board during the administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo to address critical complaints from people. At that point, they felt that the criminal code was no longer serving.
I still believe that the emergence of these apps and all those crippled the operations of ATM, and I still believe that is just like AI, artificial intelligence. Newer ATMs might come out later. You understand? So it's not as if people don't even care going to banks to queue up, and they use their phones to do transfer.
No, I don't agree with you, sister.
I don't agree with you. Transfers. See, and I think it's better.
The issue is this: people are frustrated because the bank ATMs are not working. But that's not to say people don't want to use the ATM. As we are speaking, if you take your camera to First Bank Ring Road right now, you see people queuing there. If you take your camera, go to Airport Road.
They are still visiting the bank.
I'm talking of the ATM. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. The ATM, they are still visiting it.
But the ATMs are always empty.
Yes, even with the frustrations.
That's what we are saying.
So because it shows the extent Nigerians still want to make use of this system.
Is it that because they're giving them just 20,000 as maximum, or that because if you still go to Ring Road now, some ATM machines, they are still working?
Yes,
but the cries and hues now, is it that the machines are not enough, or that
they are not properly funded?
The 20,000
is the money.
The limit.
That should be pumped into that ATM.
Yes.
We are not really having. What really causes it? Because a lot of people believe that the CBN is not doing enough to ensure that this money circulates in
the CBN should have persons stationed in various banks, not necessarily all the banks, where there could be instant complaints. You get what I mean? I come to the ATM machine, I look at your 5 machines, they are not paying. I should be able to to complain to somebody, or there should be a number that I can call immediately, and while I'm still there, the operatives of the CBN or the FCC will come in there immediately to ask the management why the ATM is not funded.
See, if you go to ATMs, they do
because
have
a lot of people, are believing that this
not government. They have their own securities. They don't see. Let me tell you, in Nigeria,
a lot of people believe that it's a deliberate act by bankers and all that.
Yes, because they're not being checkmated.
Because CBN would have given these policies and all that. Let monies be there. I think they said they even gave limits of this money that should be given. Let's see what happens.
Yes. We're not complaining. We're not talking about those the limit inside the bank. We're talking about unavailability of funds.
We have to call.
Hello. 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 Who's on the line, please? I seem to have an error there. Yes, you're saying something.
Let's separate two things. The limit to which you can give. That is money across the counter.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But the problem now is payment through the ATMs machines. We are not quarreling with the limit to which you can give.
Okay.
But even at that, what the banks are giving right now is even below the limit that is approved.
Okay, even over the counter.
Yes,
over the counter is 10 to 20,000.
Yes, which is not what the CBN is approving.
Maybe it's a sabotage. Some may begin to wonder, are they trying to sabotage the effort of government
that's exactly,
and all that?
That's exactly the problem. Give me what the central bank said you should give me for today, and I can't complain.
Yes.
Let me go to the ATM and withdraw. I go to the ATM, there's no money there.
Let alone the limit that we're supposed to take.
But I go to the POS woman.
I can take whatever I want.
I take whatever I want.
And it's a really big issue in the country. I don't think it's just Benin alone. Across the country, we keep having this complaint of
although the variation.
We just talked about that.
Some states are
some
better.
still source the cash by themselves.
Or does it mean that at the end of the day we should be looking at something like a cashless kind of upgrade machines to provide cashless services? There should be innovations. Shouldn't we be looking at that way too in the country? A lot of people can have access to money without necessarily having cards, moving around with cards and all that. Looking at innovations.
Yeah, but the money still has to come out from somewhere. Somebody has to load the money somewhere for you to access. Whichever way you are accessing it, somebody has to load the money somewhere. I think the point is that government should take time to look at the functionality of the ATMs. There should be technical crews going around, not just interrogating the banking the bank staff, but interrogating the public. Security operatives, specially trained, should come around periodically, interrogate the customers, and from what they get, they take on the system.
Okay, continue, sir.
Yes, from the information they get, they take on the system. As I said earlier, you can't prosecute any bank manager without adequate information or evidence. You need to gather your evidence. A situation where you don't prosecute anybody, then everybody takes the wrong for the right, and that seems to be what is happening today.
Okay, let's look at it. At the end of this, what we are really talking about is like we are having agency banking versus the banking system itself that we work to do business. So what should be the melting point between these two? Because what all we are looking at is people should be able to go and have access to their money and all that.
Yeah, if you ask me, the POS operatives are just playing their role. They are just in normal business for survival. And so I just don't fault them.
I think because it's very lucrative, everybody is venturing into
Yes,
this,
it's lucrative.
not minding.
As I said, it's offering job to a lot of, especially you agree with me that most of them are manned by young girls. These are young girls who ordinarily would just be roaming the streets.
Yes.
So it's providing job for them, and for me, it's a very great opportunity. It's a job creation unit, even though you, when you compare it with quality of job, when you have a graduate operating a POS outfit, it doesn't really count for quality employment. Yes, but that's it. But by and large, the banks should play their statutory role. Their role is to ensure that I get money across the counter, and I get money from the POS machines, the ATM machines. That's the role of the banks, and they should play that role. If they fail, government should come after them. The central bank is a regulatory institution. They should come after them. EFCC has a power to investigate. The EFCC is, you see, what we are dealing with now, we are dealing with fraud. EFCC is about fraud, fighting fraud anywhere, at whatever level. So
an individual can walk into their office and lay complaints.
Yes, you can. For the central bank, there is a department of customers control. You put a petition by way of an email or a letter you send to them. Then you send a copy to the bank itself, so that the bank will know that you have written to the central bank. So you are not, we are talking about.
Are you not supposed to be anonymous? Or
No. See,
use a pseudonym.
This is where the problem is. The law, the way it is. If you follow anonymous letters, most of the time you come up with vague accusations. You come up with unproven accusations. If I am offended by a particular bank and I want to complain, I should have the courage to write and put my name, and I'll be called upon, and I will stand before the management and I say, these are my complaints. That's what the law requires.
And you'll be.
But Nigerians have this fear that at the end of the day, what happens to me and all that, and so a lot of people are refraining from coming out to say what the experiences are.
See, I'm a lawyer in practice, and I know that. Go to the courts every day. You have criminal cases of all sorts against all persons. Nobody is coming after anybody. You see, we live with this our own self-same threat of, if I come up to do this, they will come after you. Nobody is coming after you. Provided you are not lying. Provided you have your facts and figures. You understand what I'm saying? I just told you how my money got trapped in that bank. If I wanted to take it up, I will take it up and know, is it the bank manager that's going to come after me? He will go and explain their role in the whole crisis, and if the central bank wants to find them, they will find them. But I also tell you this: the Nigerian man has this attitude of, once you have offended him and that moment is past, he moves on to another thing.
All right, yes, Mr.
Spirit.
Exactly. By way of rounding up, what are your parting words as far as we have been looking at empty ATMs in banks in Benin City and what should be done further? What are your parting words?
My parting words to the banks. First, I want to congratulate them. Like I said, they have done well in the area of the apps. They have done very, very well. They have used the advanced technology of the AI to really ensure that at a glance your money is transferred, and when there are problems, they revert most of the time very easily. But that is as far as the banking apps are concerned. But for the ATM machines, they should keep them funded. The law requires that they should keep them funded. If I have my way, I will report all of them to the central bank. But unfortunately, I don't have enough time to do that.
Yes.
But I think that they should do it. A lot of people are frustrated that they cannot walk with their card to the ATM machine and get what they want. They should be able to. It's our right. The law has said you should give us these funds, so give us our money.
Give us our money. Thank you so much, Ms. Austin Odige, legal practitioner, for sharing your thoughts on this 6th edition of Midweek Connect. We look forward to having you more when a need arises. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You are wrapping? to show.
Anyway, government as independent variable should look into these issues that we talked about this morning, and look into the policies to make things very easy, especially getting maybe newer ATM machines, and looking into the activities of POS so that Nigerians will do their cash transactions without hitches.
Yes, no effort should be spared in ensuring that Nigerians get access to money whenever they visit banks. Thank you so much for being part of the program, this week's edition of Midweek Connect. We look forward to having you join us again next week for another interesting edition. Until then, do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.